Alright, so today I've got two SAT writing tips for you, kind of wrapped into one video. The first SAT writing tip is really just a grammar rule that you have to follow, and the second one is really a specific tip to the SAT writing section. So let's just go ahead and quick knock out the first tip. So we've got, when Professor Zeynep Tan at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology compared two chains of warehouse club stores, there has to be a comma after here. How do I know that? Well, I know that because this is an introductory dependent clause. So we have a dependent clause right at the beginning of our sentence. If we have a dependent clause beginning our sentence, what we know is we have to have a comma after the last part of that dependent clause. Now the last part of that dependent clause is the word stores, therefore our answer for 37 has to be B because we need a comma after the last part of our dependent clause. Now one thing that you can use to kind of tell when you have an introductory dependent clause like this, keep in mind the word introductory just means it's at the start of your sentence, is if you have a subordinating conjunction. In this case, when is a subordinating conjunction. You can look up a list of subordinating conjunctions on Google and take a look at those to familiarize yourself with them. I would recommend doing that after watching this video. So you have, when Professor Zeynep Tan at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology compared two chains of warehouse club stores. That's my introductory dependent clause. After that, I must have a comma. Okay, so that's your first tip. That's really just a grammar rule though. Now here we get into our second tip. Now this tip is really the one that, in my opinion, is just something that is a really good thing that you need to know, and it's a good strategy, and I really want to take some time and explain it here. So when we have, he's comparing two chains of warehouse club stores, one with better average pay and benefits, and another with lower employee wages, she found that the average number, okay, and I'm going to put this in green because this is what I want to focus on. She found that the average number of sales per employee at the higher wage club was double, and then I have a subject right here. Okay, I'm going to put my subject, I'm going to draw that in black so you can see where my arrow is pointing. Okay, see right here, this is my subject. Now keep in mind that this is at the lower wage club store. So I'm comparing what you saw up here, the average number at the higher wage club store, to what at the lower wage club store. Now the reason I went slow there is so that you could kind of see this. Okay, notice how I'm comparing two different things. I'm comparing that higher wage club store, right? I'm comparing that average number of sales per employee at the higher wage club store, to something at the lower wage club store. Well, that something has to be the number. Okay, the answer there has to be C. Why can't it be the employees? I know that we see employee right here, but why can't we compare the employees? Well, we can't compare employees because of sales per employee is a prepositional phrase describing this average number. Okay, so if we have a prepositional phrase like that, we got to keep in mind we're not comparing what's in the prepositional phrase, we're comparing the subject. The subject is the average number. Okay, she found that the average number of sales per employee at the higher wage club was double the number at the lower wage club. It's not double the employees. It's not double the employees. It is double the number. Okay, so we have to make sure we're comparing our subjects correctly. It's not double the one, so B is wrong. It's not double the employees, and we can't just delete it because we have to compare it to something else. In this case, we're comparing numbers, right? The average number, and then of sales per employee, that's a prepositional phrase, so we ignore it. Okay, our subject is the average number, therefore we need to compare the number to the other number. So the average number, compare it to the number at the lower wage club store. So right there, the big tip there is understanding that you have to compare two of the same subjects, right? So if you're asked a comparison question, make sure you're comparing the same things. If you're comparing one number, you must be comparing it to another number. You can't compare a number from a given set of data to an employee, right, of another set of data. If you have a lower wage club store and a higher wage club store and you're comparing a number at one, you must be comparing it to a number at the other. You can't switch that and do a different subject. So that's the tip there. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more content.